Mm-hmm. 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 Hello. This is Sahara Drac of what's our site called? Stormlegacy.com.
It's like
It's like I've only been doing it for like 2 years. Come on.
Kerrigan. She's banned.
Yeah. This is Sahara Drac of Stormlegacy.com, and this is Nexus Drafthouse. I'm with my lovely co-host, the Vanna White of drafting, Lord of Ascension. That's him right there.
I want to be Pat. Why aren't you Vanna?
Because I'm the host.
Oh, okay.
Man. And our guest tonight is none other than the CavalierGuest, Justin Foster, well known for his analytical videos and articles. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Also a chairlead caster, prolific chairlead caster.
Yeah. The most prolific chairlead caster. Yeah. Although Halloran's catching up to me.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, yeah. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you guys doing?
Just dandy. Just standing.
Great.
That didn't sound sincere to me, Ryan's.
You told me I was tired. My gosh, I just can't be pretty enough for you.
It sounded
always something wrong.
It sounded sardonic to me. Like it was like great.
It wasn't meant to be.
Well, I'm gonna call you out every time. So this is Nexus Drafthouse. It's a show every week on Thursday on Twitch TV where we bring on a very special guest, a pro gamer, a coach, an analyst, someone like that. And we go over drafts and analyze drafts, and the goal is to help you be better drafters and for you to better understand the drafting process when you're watching pro tournaments and whatnot. So today, last time they did a show match on Braxis Holdout between two teams, and we went over those drafts with CavalierGuest, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a good show. So we brought him back on to do the same thing with Warhead Junction, because today there was a show match between European teams on this new map. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
As Team Dignitas and Team Fnatic.
That's right. The top two Euro teams duking it out on the brand new map. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts about Warhead Junction?
Just from looking at the size of the map, the very first thing I thought was globals are going to be really good. Mm-hmm. There aren't that many globals in the game, if you really think about it.
That's
There's
true.
7 globals in the game, if you count Abathur. But the problem with counting Abathur is that he gets countered by globals.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's really wide open. In the promo video, they said that it would be really good for melee assassins. I still don't understand why they said that. Really wide open maps are really good for ranged heroes because it allows you to kite backwards. The bigger the map is, the better kiting becomes as a strategy. So it's really good for Tracer. It's really good for Lunara. It's really good for heroes like that can kite consistently and constantly.
Okay.
It felt really good for heroes who have an escape too. I mean, anytime you're caught on a map like that, anyone who didn't, like Arthas, just got obliterated.
You just leave.
So,
yeah, if you're a hero who has no mobility of any kind built into your kit, you're probably a liability on Warhead unless you're so synergistic with your team and your team protects you. But that's a hard thing to pull off.
We didn't see a lot of that today.
We did not. We did not. We saw low mobility heroes dying a whole lot.
All the time.
Now, I didn't get to see the matches today, so I'm excited to at least see the drafts. Because at least we're doing game 4 and 5, by the way. We're not doing every draft.
Because the meta evolved as it went on. So really, 4 and 5, yeah, the things that got let through and the things that started happening changed as the series progressed. So 4 and 5 are the best.
The first games were old news already. The meta had shifted. Yeah. That's cool.
That's what always happens.
Yeah.
That's what always happens in a best of 5, though.
Yeah, that's true.
If you watch a professional best of 5, you'll actually start to see the teams change their priorities over the course. Usually by the second or third game. In a best of 3, it doesn't happen because it's usually the second or third game where people figure out, oh, okay, we don't know how to deal with that. But in the best of 5, a little different.
Now, I got to play this map a little bit, 2 or 3 times on the PTR and stuff. I've played it once on live, but the first thing that jumped out to me was the map size, obviously, and that immediately led me to believe that this was a Lost Vikings map.
Yeah.
You would be right.
Yeah, I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not only Vikings are good on this map because of the soak. It's hard to do a 4-man roam, which is what you normally want to do with a Viking. So if you're going to go Vikings, you might want to invest in a hero who can help you push a lane very effectively. So you can just do a 4-man push.
Right.
But the real benefit to Vikings is there's between 2 and 4 nukes that spawn every time they spawn, and each Viking can hold a nuke.
Right. So that's crazy.
So you can pick up nukes better than anyone else, essentially. Right. If your team can zone for you, you can grab them.
Well, on that point, that's another reason why globals are so good here, where somebody can grab a nuke and then get back to the team fight, right? We saw that happen a couple times as well.
Absolutely.
So the feedback I saw on Twitter and whatnot so far was that the nukes might be a bit much as it stands. Is that
post 14 minutes, the nukes are too strong versus buildings.
So it's just one power spike of nukes. It doesn't like progressively grow like some other objectives.
No, it's one massive power spike at 14 minutes. Basically, if there's an open keep, like the core is open, and you have 2 nukes, you can end the game.
Wow, that seems.
The only defense is Void Prison on the core to deny the nuke damage.
Right. And we saw a couple of those.
That's it. That's the only solution. Maybe Gust would work, but you're just gusting them away. You're not stopping them. They can come back.
Right. They're not wasting the nuke. Oh, the wind train drove by. Hold on. Ryan, you back with us?
That's a pretty narrow solution. That's like
right. It's a cute play. But it's not Draft Zeratul to stop the nukes from blowing up our core. It's a bit indicative of maybe they shouldn't do this to the core. That's a red alert right there for sure. But from what I've played on the map and what I've seen, I think with some tweaking, the map, I love how big it is. I love the size of it. I think it leads to some really cool options strategically and makes you make some kind of fresh choices you haven't normally had to make in a game like this. Kind of more traditional MOBA decisions as far as laning and leaving the lane and rotating. So I like that a lot. I think that's cool.
I agree. The map, the size of it, just launching nukes is really fun. It's a fun map in that sense. It needs number tweaking. And Blizzard keeps doing this. They keep having triple spawns, right? We had Towers of Doom triple spawns on altars, and they were like, okay, we'll have it the first and the 5th one, and that's it. We had with Sky Temple triple spawns. The nukes spawn in too many locations.
Right. It's 4. It alternates between 2 and 4, right?
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Oh. Well, in all the promos, though, they made it seem like that was one of the important strategic points of this map, right? It's spawning all over the place, lots of nukes falling all the time. I think that was a lot of the fantasy they were going for. Yeah, so it probably will be obviously a numbers game here going forward.
So if the nukes were a little less crazy post 14, it'd probably be okay. But yeah.
If they scaled more linearly and didn't have one huge power spike, and if they didn't spawn sort of randomly at 3 locations on the map and spawned at 2 locations, or there's like Sky Temples, you were guaranteed it was 2 locations and it could never spawn at all 3, that would be better.
Maybe they could do some sort of thing where there's a downside or a reason to not just hang on to the nuke until you can hit a keep or a core, right? There's a reason to use them early.
Radiation decay eventually just blows up and kills you.
Yeah, it has a timer. Yeah. Maybe you should just have a timer. It's like, if you don't use this in a minute, it blows up in your face. That'd be cool.
That'd actually be pretty funny.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll start on the draft. So go ahead, Ryan.
One thing before we get into these drafts, right? Sure. We mentioned it was a 5-game series, so unlike other best of 5s, all 5 games were played. So we really did get to see the meta evolve. Versus just trying to win 3 games.
It was $1,000 per win to the team. So they played all 5 games, and however many games you won, you got $1,000 each. So there was an incentive to keep trying really hard.
And the Braxis was 4-1 for GFE. How did this one end up? 3-2?
3-2.
Ended at 3-2.
Okay, for Fnatic, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was 2-2 going into the last match. So it was pretty. It was pretty close overall.
Awesome.
I thought they were really fun games to watch, despite the power
were
fight.
Super fun games to watch. Because there were a lot of mid-game decision-making. Even though you can end as soon as you pass the 14-minute mark, being able to have 2 nukes and have a keep open past the 14-minute mark involves a lot of mid-game decision-making that was pretty critical.
Yeah, and that's kind of the Blizzard philosophy, right? You make it fun first and then make it balanced, which is, I dig. Yeah.
Something that I really liked about this map, especially because of the size, is that it seems like it's a lot about team fighting over those nukes and denying the nukes, right? Versus just laning. I think the laning phase still has its place in this map, but that's not where the fun is, I don't think, at all. I think it's much more about the team fights. So,
all right, so we'll get into the drafts now. The first ban and pick did go to Fnatic in this game 4. And I'm just going to find it here. I'm doing a different method here that Cavalier showed. I didn't know this site existed. So it's pretty cool. It's actually quite convenient for the show. Oops, not when you do that. So the red team first bans Tracer. So you went over it a little bit before, but why is Tracer so good on this map theoretically?
The Tracer's good on any map where she has room to kite and rotate on people and just make plays. Towers of Doom is considered her best map currently in the pro scene. I think Warhead will actually take that spot. But also, she's really good at picking off people who are alone. And because it's such a big map, people end up alone.
Right.
She's a really good duelist hero.
She's a duelist, yeah.
She has outplay potential. She can juke pretty much, all the damage in the world and kill you, even if normally you're a counter to her or someone who can DPS her down very effectively.
Right.
And in particular, I think this might actually be game 5. We might actually be starting with game 5.
Oh, really?
But in the last game, they did some shenanigans with Tracer that were very hard to deal with, shall we say. It's actually one of my favorite combinations. We'll talk about it when we get to the next draft.
Okay.
But that was kind of we don't want to deal with that again.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought I picked them in the right order. I could be wrong.
It's possible I sent them to you in the wrong order. I might have switched the links.
It's probably me. Uno momento. Well, your guys' cams both went out, so that's probably my fault. Everything's my fault. I don't know why your cams aren't showing, but all that's important are your thoughts right now. So
Dignitas responded with the Muradin ban, which is very reasonable. Muradin's the most self-contained tank in the game right now. He's arguably the strongest tank in the game, so he's really good at just sitting on a point and distracting, and he's really good at rotating on Braxis in particular because there's so much terrain in between the lanes. The ability to bypass terrain with jump significantly increases the speed of your rotations and the amount of surprise you can have over your opponents.
Right.
So
now, one thing I did want to point out with Tracer on this map is she's also pretty good at killing Vikings. So that's another reason if you're planning on playing Vikings, maybe banning her is a good call. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just her mobility that's up all the time, I think really helps her on a map like this, especially like we said with people getting caught out.
Also, I mean, Parting Gift is standard in the pro scene for the most part because she's considered a burst hero. You get in, you kill one person. But if you can actually get Untouchable to 15, Untouchable is a little bit better. And Untouchable is easy to stack versus Vikings.
Well, yeah, there you go. So Tracer, good hero here. Muradin, good hero everywhere.
And another thing about the Muradin ban is we'd seen a lot of Muradin in this series so far.
He'd been a pain.
He was a favorite, so...
Also true on the Braxis show match. Muradin everywhere.
I mean, there's a strong argument right now that Muradin's the strongest tank in the game, especially with the ETC rework.
Reworked, yeah.
Semi-rework, yeah.
The rearrangement.
The removal of double neck guitar is a straight nerf to everything that he is.
Yeah.
But everything else is arguably a little bit better, so it's hard to say it's a nerf overall.
Right. Yeah. So, Fnatic here, they first pick the Brightwing here. And that's obviously global is a map this big. I know there's a lot of maps where global is the order of the day, but that's gonna be true. The bigger the map gets, that's just gonna be more and more true, right? Like, just and the map's so big, he doesn't actually have a global. Like, he has a close to global on most maps. This map, he's like, I gotta actually move around before I can fly, to reach where I need to go. So, So the Brightwing, you're having so many skirmishes over nukes on this map that her ability to come in on a close one and save the day, like, I could see her being incredibly powerful on this map. Probably, I could see this being Brightwing's best map,
Yeah, I mean, Emerald wins.
I'm absolutely certain this is Brightwing's best map.
Yeah.
And also, it's the dynamic, right? Because ranged heroes are so good, because poke is so good on this map, you need a sustained healer to heal up the poke damage and to continue to allow you to skirmish. We talked about that just as a theory of the map, and we've been seeing it in practice all day. You need a sustained healer. We're probably never going to see Uther on Warhead Junction at high levels of play. It's just not going to happen. And Brightwing, Ariel, Malfurion are kind of like the best sustained healers in the game.
Sure.
But Brightwing has a global over the other two there. Right. So
she's the queen here, for sure.
Yeah, probably the best support on the map.
I could see that. Yeah, that's hard to argue with. First two picks, they do pick up Lost Vikings. Like we were saying, they're just the ability to stand in every lane and let your team rove around for nukes and put map pressure on, take bosses, things like that.
Yeah, I do think that this is the fifth game.
This is the fifth game.
Yeah, because this was banned out in every other game.
Okay,
So
well, my bad. They're just example
that's
drafts.
all right. I mean, it's just interesting.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
First one we saw him in. So
Right. Okay.
So it's the first game we saw Vikings, and we talked about why they're good pickup, but there's another reason they are a good pickup that sort of ties into the whole thing about the nukes being able to end post 14 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You only need to win one lane really hard to end the game.
Yeah.
So if you have Vikings soaking the lanes, even if you're losing them a little tiny bit at a time, if you can push one lane really hard before while the Vikings soak, then you're in a situation where you can make sure you get that keep down as early as possible, and then as soon as you hit the 14-minute mark, you have two nukes you can just go and end.
Right. Yeah. Oh wait, there he is. There he is. Got your cam back.
I didn't know it was gone.
Yeah, it keeps coming in and out. I'm not sure.
It's not on my end.
It's probably my upload internet or something.
Oh.
I'm not sure. But yeah. So did we talk about the Li Ming yet?
We've not talked about
No, we did not talk about
But we've talked about poke.
Right.
And of course, Li Ming is one of the best poke heroes. We talked about mobility. She's the only mage that has mobility of any kind. So you kind of need that. She's also a really good counter to Vikings.
She is.
Because of late game resets. So you put all those things together, and if you take Vikings, you have to take Li Ming. That's just
Plus the wide open spaces again, right? Like she excels in open planes where she can really hurl the spells out. So.
Well, plus I think she was picked in every game. I think.
She might have been banned in one game, but yeah, she was on the map and everything.
She was very predominant throughout these, and I think for good reason. I mean, just the damage output, and as we discussed, the poke was excellent.
Yeah, every draft you really want at least one burst hero, and Kerrigan and Li Ming are the two most mobile burst heroes.
Right.
So I'm actually a little bit surprised we didn't see any Kerrigan, but again, dive is a little bit risky on Moorhead just because it's so open. You can kite backwards, and if Kerrigan starts getting kited, she's just nothing she can do about it.
Just
and
helpless.
Tell 13 with Eviscerate, maybe she can make something happen, but it's very difficult.
Right. Okay. So coming back over to the second and third for Fnatic, they do end up getting the ETC here along with Sylvanas. Now I thought the Sylvanas choice was interesting when I saw this this draft here. Now before we get to the Sylvanas, I'm kind of excited about ETC on this map, just because with his rework, quote unquote, he has stage dive as a viable option now, and you just wrote an ETC guide current to this patch.
I did.
That's correct, yeah. So we can definitely get the link to that. So tell us about ETC now, and tell us about him on Warhead.
It's kind of funny, honestly. ETC is different than he was to some degree. He doesn't have the pick potential that he did because Power Slide is slower. He doesn't have double neck guitar, and without double neck guitar, without an increased width, it's actually significantly harder to hit really strong moshes.
Right.
And myself and a few other players, I know Sray's tier list, Sray list default builds for all of his things are actually saying that stage dive is the default now. In most circumstances, you should just go stage dive.
And that makes me happy. I love that spell.
My guide says that. I believe it to be true. It happened in every single game. ETC was picked. And I believe every single game but one, he was banned in one. And in each case, stage dive was taken on this map.
Well, especially on this map, right, with how large it is.
Yeah, especially on this map.
To get a nuke and come back to the team fight. Or...
But another big part of that is the fact that he can operate independently now because of Echo Pedal. He has wave clear at 7, which means he can push a lane by himself for as long as is necessary, or as long as your team can delay, and then he can stage dive in behind and start the fight, which goes back into the fact that poke is really valuable on this map.
Right.
Poke helps you delay for your globals to get there.
Now, my question about ETC on this map would be his level 1 prog rock talent is obviously very good, but are regen globe talents good on this map because there's so much space between lanes?
It is a little hard to complete the quest. Also, most of the games we saw ETC paired with Brightwing, and Brightwing really benefits from block party,
right?
Because whenever you have healing over time, damage mitigation goes up in value because it allows the healing over time to work more.
Right.
And particularly in the pro scene, focus fire is so strong that healing over time sometimes doesn't work. You need immediate damage mitigation. Block party is better at that. So, but you got to remember that each warhead that your team collects also gives you a globe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, each time you cap a warhead, it also gives you a globe. So it's pretty reasonable. You'll finish. I would say it's pretty reasonable. You'll finish it by like the 15 or 16-minute mark.
But the
but the game's usually over by then if people are playing well.
Yeah.
Because of the current nuke scaling. So maybe if the map gets adjusted, that'll change. But right now,
well, I mean, hey, man, they're nukes, man.
Right now, you
call
should go
down the thunder, now reap the whirlwind. You know, like they're nukes. They gotta blow stuff up. Like I'm just.
They do.
Indeed.
They
So
do.
that's etc on Warhead Junction.
Yeah. Now that actually brought up a question. Do nukes just kill heroes? Are they a percentage of their health?
It is percentage based. It is 30% of their health.
Okay, and it's more in the center, right?
It is more in the center for buildings.
I'm not sure if heroes. Okay.
I don't think. I think it's 30% flat
Okay.
for heroes.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is. No, it is. It's. I remember this. I played a game. It's doubled at the center, so it's 60% at the center and 30%.
60. So if you somehow get hit by the center of that nuke, you deserve to lose probably more than 60% of your health because they take a while.
And that's 30 and 60% of your max health, right? Not 30 to 60% of your remaining health.
Max health, I believe.
Right.
Uh-oh.
I thought so too.
Okay,
Yeah.
there he is. It froze on me. So what was I going to ask there? I had one more question about nukes and heroes. I can't remember. It'll come to me. So Sylvanas on this map. Why the semi-early Sylvanas pick, do you think?
Again, it comes down to that fact that if you push in and get a fort and a keep in a lane early enough, you can just end the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Sylvanas, if you get any sort of advantage, if you get a pick or whatever, you can push as 5 and be fine. Right? You don't have to worry about the buildings.
Right.
And Sylvanas has Haunting Wave. She has really good escapes over the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So she can, W and then Haunting Wave over a wall and just constantly interrupt. So she has that twofold advantage. She's ranged, she has a good escape, she has poke. And if you're ever ahead, you can open up a lane to the point where you can win with 2 nukes post 14 minutes. That was literally
the
goal. Thing that everyone was drafting around all day.
That's the goal, yeah.
So I don't think we saw much of her in this series, though, did we? I think it was
Dignitas was valuing her pretty heavily in the first 2 drafts, but she lost them both games.
Yeah.
So they didn't happen in that. Now Fnatic picked her up in the 5th game and was like, "No, we'll show you how this works. This is how you're supposed to use Sylvanas on this map."
Yeah. So what we're saying is, as the map gets tweaked and maybe changed a little bit, we probably won't see these kind of drafts, but it gives us a good view into the philosophy of the map overall.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It with tweaks, if the nukes get less strong, it'd be just because of the size, you're going to see more tri-lanes.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see one here in one lane, one here in the other lane, and then a tri-lane that's going to push really, really hard if they can.
Right.
And Sylvanas and Hammer are the 2 currently best tri-lane heroes, just enabling a push.
Right. Speaking of Sergeant Hammer, the Team Dignitas does end up banning Hammer right now.
Yeah.
So probably for reasons listed above, the splits, the side push, she can really isolate herself and do a lot of damage. Anything else about Hammer that makes her strong here?
Really good escape. Her Z is a really good escape. We actually saw her Z talent taken over first aid at 7.
Oh, wow.
Pretty consistently.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, she was played a lot.
Yeah, she was. She was played in like every.
Yeah,
Okay.
They really highly valued her, so I think that was just.
Gotcha.
I can't too. Who's the blue team in this one? I can't. tell.
Dignitas.
Dignitas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Hammer. All right. Now this Zeratul ban that comes in from Fnatic here, is that just to not void prison the core? Is it to kill Vikings? Both.
It's. Well, I mean, they would have wanted to take it if it was to kill Vikings.
Right.
Yeah. It's just void
right.
prison. It's 100%. We don't want you to be able to invalidate our win.
Right.
By void prisoning core, because it's the only solution in the game. We think we're going to get to that milestone where we can nuke the core first,
right.
and you're not going to be able to defend against it.
So it's just pure, we are going to double nuke the core at 14 minutes, and that's the one thing that stops it. Here you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not a Zeratul ban, that's a void prison ban.
That's a void prison ban.
Now, we did see a lot of Zeratul played in this series to great effect, right? It's another one of those burst heroes. And Grubby would talked a little bit about why he was picked so much versus the Terridan, right? I mean, void prism plus you get the burst and the escape. So there's no reason to take Terridan in the situation over Zeratul if you can get him.
Right. And Zeratul's always good at outplay in 1v1 scenarios, especially with Warple, which is what we saw at 4. And on a big map, you're often in 1v1 outplay scenarios where if you can just do that, you're going to win the game because you're going to get a kill, and that's going to allow you to put your team to put more pressure on the map.
Right. Okay.
So if you're a really good Zeratul player, you can absolutely pick him on Warhead Junction.
Yeah, I'm not one of those, but I'm sure there are many out there. I'm not a Zeratul guy. So the picks coming out from Dignitas then at this point are Tyrael and Malf. Now Tyrael, is that like I kind of have Void Prison? Like it doesn't do buildings? I don't know. Like
no, Sanct does not work on buildings. Yeah. That would be amazing.
That would be so good.
That'd be hilarious good. At a minimum.
Yeah. So Balloon grants them strength. Malf is back, and he's got a deep, rumbly voice, and he's old, and he's a tree man. Well, he's an elf, but you know what I mean. He loves trees.
For the record, Bakery never stopped playing Malfurion.
Yeah.
Bakery has an 80% win rate with Malfurion in EU Grandmaster Hero League. Over I think 60 or 80 games in Season 1.
That's just his guy, huh?
He played a lot of Malfurion. He always played it with Moonfire build, but now he's actually playing it as a support again. But he is in shape in terms of practicing Malfurion. His Malfurion play was really on point, and with the buffs to Q, and particularly if you have shields, Righteousness from Tyrael helps out a little bit in terms of buffering for the heal over time, and just the roots coming down that hard CC. That it's so much faster now, it's guaranteed to land. Malfurion just is across the board better.
Right. And he's I haven't seen him in so long. I missed him. I always thought he was a little underrated. Like I always thought sure, he might not be the best ever, but he's not as bad as people think he is, and now he's just really good. And yeah, I'm just happy to see him back in the game, in the meta, and getting picked.
I mean, the problem with him in Hero League is that you have to be able, because he doesn't have any burst healing, you had to anticipate when damage was going to happen and pre-heal someone, and that's something not something most people can do.
Right, which is kind of Zarya's whole thing, right? Like being able to anticipate damage. So maybe she'll be in a similar boat in Hero League, even with today's buffs. Quick buffs, by the way. That was awesome.
Well, I imagine they started working on them when they saw her win rate on PTR, because her win rate on PTR wasn't good either.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so Malf, he's back. He's 9,000 years old, but he's still somehow really swole. Like, he has huge muscles, so, good for him. The picks, we have all bands here. Okay, there it is.
Moving on to
Dahaka. So they pick up the Dahaka and the Falstad. And they hovered, I think, Lili for a little while, but I ended up seeing this part. But they ended up going with the Falstad.
Yeah, they were debating the double support.
Mm-hmm.
I think the primary reason they were thinking about it was because it kind of looks like Dignitas could go Illidan. Sanctification on top of an Illidan.
Sure.
Is really good. This is a map where Illidan's actually is good because he can kite. You can't get away from an Illidan. Right. There's lots of kiting heroes. We talked about how kiting heroes in this map. Well,
that's
you can't get away from it. You can't get away from an Illidan.
Yeah. He's whatever the opposite of kiting is. It's chasing you down no matter what. Yeah.
Hunting.
There you go.
Yeah, and he has a global at 10 exactly.
And a global. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They opted into the Dahaka instead. Gives them another global. Gives them a better wave pool than Lili would offer because of primal aggression at 1. Mm-hmm. And drag will always hit if you follow up a power slide or a polymorph with it. And they already had both of those locked in, so they were like, okay, we can deal with the Illidan this way. We don't actually need to draft a slightly suboptimal hero for the laning phase.
Right. And how did the Dahaka perform in this game? Was it solid?
Yeah. He pressured them out.
Yeah, there you go.
He's one of the best Viking centers in the game as well.
True.
It's funny because when you're playing Vikings, normally you want to hide in vents, so they don't know exactly where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hide in vents versus Dahaka.
Right.
And Dahaka will have basically infinite health, especially post 4 with Hero Stalker if you can walk around and kill Vikings all game.
Right.
So
that's cool. I'm happy to hear that. So we have 4 globals on the side of Fnatic here in this draft.
Yes, we do.
One is an ult, but still, yeah, that's
4 of the best ones, really.
Yeah, it's great. So globals. The last pick coming out here for Dignitas was near and dear to my heart. It's a Alarak. So Alarak.
First game we've seen him played at a pro level, right?
Oh no, he's been picked.
No, he's been picked.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure about the Alarak, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see how he fits in all these philosophies we've been kind of kicking around here tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
I straight up do not understand why they picked Alarak.
He's awesome.
And they lost, and part of the reason they lost was because of the low impact that he had. So I feel like I'm justified in that confusion.
Yeah, Deadly Charge is not going to do anything for you other than move you onto a nuke. I don't know. Like move you onto the nuke cap. I mean, he's got a silence. I'm not sure, but I'm always happy to see.
I mean, outside of W, he has no mobility.
None. Yeah.
And we talked about you need mobility or some kind of global, ideally,
right.
On this map.
I wonder if they were trying to pair him with Melf's roots.
I think that's what they were trying to do.
Okay.
Because that's a combo that's been really popular that I've been seeing a lot in scrims.
Mm-hmm. I mean, set him up and silence him. Yeah.
But it didn't work.
Didn't work. Yeah.
I mean, Alarak Malf is a good combination. It's just not good on this map.
Right. The map's too big. So I feel like Kael'thas, even though he's really, really not mobile, might be okay on this map. He can really poke a point a lot, in an open space. He does. Open spaces are kind of hurt the living bomb. I don't know. I'm not sure he'd be great, but this popped in my head that maybe he could be okay on this map. Think Kael'thas bad on this map?
Good I think he'd get hunted down. Also, after his rework, he can't really 100-0 a single hero on his own.
That's true.
He does more damage the more heroes are opposing him. So he's good in like a 5v5 or 4v4 scenario, but in 2v2s and 1v3, 1 or 2v3s even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Fair
Plus,
enough.
he has no escape, right?
Yeah, the mobility is the big
seems
thing.
To just be better in every respect for this map.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I see that. Same reason you don't like him.
I wouldn't pick Jaina.
Right.
Very, very
Same reason you don't want Kael'thas necessarily on Sky Temple. It's like he can't get where he needs to get.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fine. Ryan, we've done one draft. How do you feel about giving away a fabulous prize?
Oh, I don't. You're gonna have to play Vanna White for this particular section,
okay.
But yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll do it. I don't have great prizes right now. Do you have a prize that you could give the people?
Yeah, the closet in the new office at the new house.
Do you have it? Do you have it in your head?
Let me think.
If you can't think of one, I'll go grab one. We have great stuff.
Why don't you grab one,
All
and
right.
then next week I'll do it.
All right, so I can't run the contest and go grab the prize, Ryan.
You should have planned ahead. What do you want from me?
I forgot about giveaways until just now, Ryan.
Okay.
All right, so what we'll do here, I know how to do this. We got this, fellas. What we will do is give away a $20 BattleNet gift card. I think they sell them in 20s, yeah. So, if you just, how do I do the giveaway thing? There it is. Click the little present. There we go. That's not what I wanted. No, click the present. This chat is too small to accommodate the UI. Oh, there we go. Okay. There it is. All right. So if you just type in the chat, type anything at all, and you are eligible to win a fantastic, terrific, and handsome BattleNet gift card.
Fabulous prize.
Fabulous prizes. And you know what? If someone in one of my lovely co-hosts tonight can name this line, I'll give you a BattleNet gift card. Ready? Ready for the line? It's from a video game.
It's going to be really obscure.
It's from a video game. Ready? Big money, big prizes. I love it. Anything? Anything? 5,
You should
4,
have had the Jeopardy music ready to go.
3,
but I got nothing.
2, 1. Cavalier, anything?
I got nothing.
The game was Smash TV, and it was awesome.
I never played it.
You never played
What,
Smash TV?
what system was that for?
It was our arcade game.
Oh, see. Sorry, not all of us are ancient like you.
Yeah, no, I'm old, dude. I'm old. I'm older than, like, the mummies, for sure. All right, just giving the guys a little time, and guys and gals in chat a little time to type into the chat box to make yourself eligible to win. Hey, there you go, Smash TV. He said it. He probably Googled it. You Googled it, guy in chat. Can't fool me. I'm not that old. Yeah. All right.
You do know how to use Google, so that's +1.
That's true. I know my Googles. All right. So I'm going to roll for this prize. And our winner is Lemo. Lehmo. Congrats.
Tell them what they've won.
You won a fantastic BattleNet gift card worth $20. You can buy a skin. You can buy a bunch of heroes. You can
buy the Zarya pack.
That's right. So you could buy the Zarya pack. You can buy a month of WoW subscription. You don't have to tell anyone. Whatever you want. So, yeah, just send me follow us on Twitter and send me a DM. It's at Storm Legacy Team right here on the screen. And just DM us, and I'll get you your code. And rigged. Totally rigged. 100% rigged. Okay. So let's move on to that next draft. That was game 5. So
this is game 4.
So Fnatic won the one we just did with the the Dhaka and
with the quad global.
Quad global. Okay. So just off the top of your head, your instincts tell you what's more important to prioritize countering on this map: global or lots of soak, Vikings, things like that, Abathur stuff.
I would take globals 9 times out of 10.
Global, okay. That's kind of what I was thinking too. It seemed like, but
if your first pick on this map isn't a global hero or a hero that has access to a global, you probably made a mistake in your draft.
You in trouble, son.
Although we did see a lot of first pick Muradins.
Oh right, your microphone. You turned into a staticky man. Are you with me?
I'm here.
And I mean, we saw no prioritization of globals in like the first 2 drafts, and then as the game went on, there was a greater and greater prioritization of globals.
Right.
And the team that had more globals tended to win.
Right.
It wasn't like fixed. And I will say again, I don't count Abathur just because he has issues.
I put him in the Viking category.
On the other team. When there's globals on the other team, he gets countered by globals. Yeah, right. And so do Vikings. So that's fair.
Yeah, he's like a one Viking. Okay, so this was actually the 4th game. Sorry, my mistake. But these are just example drafts. We're just theory crafting. No big deal. So the first ban that comes out from Dignitas is indeed the BW.
Right wing.
Yep. When there's trouble, you ban BW. Yeah.
I think we saw her used to braid up.
There you go. Thank you.
So.
So just a logical ban, globals, and another logical ban over here from Fnatic.
A lot of sustained healing, right? Like we talked about earlier. I think all around excellent ban.
Yes.
If you're not going to pit her up.
So Dignitas bans the global, and Fnatic bans the triple soak, the Lost Vikings. Logical decision, as they say.
So I think, like I said earlier, only the 5th game was he not banned in one of the first 2 bans. So this is just since this is game 4.
Right. Cool. Yep. So game 4. So first pick actually from Dignitas here, not a global.
No, they went for Li Ming for the poke.
They went for Li Ming.
I mean, okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Poke and mobility are really valuable on the map as well. This is the best poke hero in the game.
Yep.
They were planning to go into Tyrael. Tyrael has a little bit of a weakness in terms of peeling for fragile backliners who don't have mobility. So if that's the plan, then I understand why they picked up Li Ming first.
Yeah. You said probably made a mistake, not guaranteed you make a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, if you have an overall, then they have a really good overarching plan. You guys will see.
Yeah.
The response is, of course, Muradin.
Yeah, Muradin.
No surprise there.
Muradin and Hammer. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to put, again, pressure on a particular lane so that you will be able to end.
Yep. So, surprisingly, and I remember this is game 4, no globals picked yet. So that's actually kind of surprising. Other than
they're all heroes we talked about being really good at
having value here.
So far, yeah.
Absolutely.
The response.
No, the response is something that we saw in game 5, which is Tyrael and Melf.
Yeah. They're setting up for something cool here. No one else knows about it yet, but
right.
Tyrael Malfurion is really good. Sanctification pairs really well with Tranquility, because you can pop Tranquility later when you have Sanctification, instead of using it as we're starting a fight, we have 10 seconds to win the fight before the damage is going to be too much for me to deal with. We started a fight, we were starting to lose it, now we've turned it, and
Now we're healing.
Over the duration of Sanctification. Also, Sanctification and Twilight Dream are both counter initiations. They can be used that way. So there's a lot of synergy there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, yeah, okay. I was going to ask about Judgment, but then I didn't want to anymore. So actually, the ban phase here...
they ban a global.
They do. They ban a ETC here.
Yes, they do.
With the stage dive, and I'm actually excited. We're gonna play after this, and I want to get this map because I've been itching to try new ETC, and I haven't got to yet. And I'd love to play him on this map because I have, man, Ryan knows I have a lot of ETC games under my belt. Man, it's gross.
That was old ETC. We'll see if you've still got the touch.
Nice.
Because you haven't played him in a while.
I was the guy who picked stage dive back then. So
yeah, I remember. I don't remember winning a lot off.
Oh, how dare you! It's so good on Towers of Doom. I will fight you. Right here.
Something else I think we talked about very briefly earlier was that I think none of these games did either team make it to level 20.
Yep.
So everyone's looking.
It's not the way the map works.
Yeah, I know. So that, I think that's another thing to think about though when you're drafting into this map, right? Is you're probably never going to get that power boost at 20. So you want to pick heroes where you're going to be able to do something. Yeah, your 16 level talents at the most.
Your hero can't spike any later than 16.
In its current state, yeah. And which, you know what? Like, if there was a map that was true, I wouldn't hate that. Like, I'd be like, yeah, this is a fast-paced map.
There was Braxis, and now there's Warhead, so there's two of them.
Right. I think Braxis. I played Braxis yesterday, and I think he can definitely go late game now for sure. Mine did, but of course I'm bad, and my teammates are bad, and my enemies are bad. So we'll see.
Anyway, they banned the stage dive.
They banned the stage dive, and then these homeboys on Team Dignitas banned the Ariel. Now, what is that about?
It's Aegis. When you see the next two picks, we won't even talk. Let's just say they banned Aegis right there, and when you see the next two picks they're going to pick, it'll make sense.
Okay, so the next two picks they pick are Zeratul and Rhaegar.
Well, that's what Fnatic picks up.
Oh yeah,
and
sorry.
We talked about Zeratul. We talked about Void Prison. They're picking Void Prison and rotational ability there, and then Rhaegar is in some sense the best remaining support.
Right. At least he can move fast.
You don't want because you don't want either. You need sustain healing of some kind.
Yeah, he has pretty much all that's left, right? I mean,
that's all that's left, really. I mean, Karazim.
They could have gone medic.
I mean,
that's another one of those where she has no real escape.
But
she has medevac.
She has medevac.
Well, at 10, right? I mean,
so
yeah, but I mean,
game's gonna get to 10. She might not get to 20, but it's gonna get to 10.
Does she get picked off before that? Like,
I don't know, man. I kind of think aren't we just harping on globals on this map? That's a global.
I think I would have picked Morales there. I'm gonna be honest, but it would not have helped.
I think she would have gotten picked early.
And so far,
what they end up picking up.
And so far, they don't have dive unless he goes Judgment or something. I don't know. I like the Morales there.
And then Team Dignitas.
Team Dignitas does something crazy.
They do the combo. Combo is
Tassadar and
who has wave clear, which is critical when you're going double support like this, and Tracer. And what they're doing is the Judgment Pulse Bomb combo.
Ooh,
if you don't have Divine Shield and you don't have Aegis, you can just kill the enemy team support at the start of every single fight for free.
I was actually not aware of this combo. I mean, now that
it's
you say
it. It's in my Tyrael guide.
I haven't read your Tyrael guide.
You should read my Tyrael guide.
I guess I should. I read the ETC guide. So, wow. Okay, so never thought of that. I mean, I see Tracer Tassadar picked on the pro level quite a bit, but never with Judgment. At least not that I've seen.
It's been a combo that's been around for a while. We've seen it in an A 2 or 3 times actually. We see it in EU a little bit more often, but yeah, if you don't have, because you can't cleanse yourself, right? So if you're a support that doesn't have something like Aegis or Divine Shield, you just die.
Right, and Rhaegar can't run from that.
Your team can't save you because they're all getting knocked away by Judgment. And maybe if you're some supports can ice block it, right? You can have Brightwing who can ice block it, but for the most part, you're just dead if you're certain kinds of support. So as soon as Rhaegar got picked up, Team Dignitas was we know what to do with that.
Right. Yeah, was there a support left that they couldn't do that to? I mean, I guess Uther.
Nope. I mean, Uther was the only one, but Uther, as we talked about, gets
Yeah.
punished on this map for other reasons.
Right.
So Team Dignitas, really clever draft.
That is. That's cool. And you know what? If I saw this draft, none of that would have occurred to me until I saw it in game. I would have been like, oh, I see.
As soon as I saw the draft, I was like, oh my god. They did
Also,
it.
on top of that, you have mouth roots. So you can put them in place, and then judgment them, you know. Like, yeah.
And then get those that early reset on a Li Ming as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or judgment them and then root them if they somehow
So
live.
I do feel vindicated in me saying that wouldn't have mattered if they picked up Medic here at all.
Medic.
So
Yeah, they wouldn't have mattered.
should
It wouldn't have
blown
mattered.
up.
But they didn't know that.
Still would have been bad, but yeah, they didn't know that.
Yeah. Maybe they did. And they
Well,
picked
they should have.
Rhaegar
They
anyways.
drafted
So,
differently.
so.
So.
Yeah. So, what do you do here in Fnatic's seat? You have one pick left, and you see this wombo of death on your healer coming. What are your thoughts? Like, what would you do? Hello? Uh-oh, he's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, his face is frozen. I see it. He's gone. He's gone. We'll get him back.
Dun, dun, dun. Right at the pivotal moment.
I know. I asked him the hard-hitting question. He bailed.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, I think they are in a pretty tough spot here, right? I mean, the other team clearly got the combo they were angling for through the entire draft.
Mm-hmm.
You picked up, probably the best tank in the game, but your Hammer, right, wants to set up, although she does have a Z escape.
Mm-hmm.
They got a decent healer, but who's probably going to be blown up. Zertul does great burst, but he's not going to be able to take down the Tracer with the Tyrael shields, the Tassler shields, and
not with the shields.
the Q on Malf, right? So similarly, he's going to have a hard time taking down Li Ming.
Yeah, so this isn't this comp from Dignitas. It's not a team fight comp. I mean, not really. I mean, if you blow up the healer like you're planning to, it can be, but it's more of like a 2-man skirmish comp, like 2 or 3 person go on someone kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean they picked up a ton of poke here, right? Which is a lot of what this map's about. You've got Li Ming, you've got the Tassar, Psystorm, you've got the Tracer who has the mobility to poke and get out, right? So they clearly wanted to slow roll this game, I think, and pick heroes off as opposed to the big set piece team fights.
Now, I wonder actually. Oh, your face is so big now because he's gone. Your giant face. Let me try and add him back real quick. Where'd he go? There he is. Oh, he's not online. I think he's restarting. So, with this emphasis on poke, I wonder if Thrall would be legit here because him and Li Ming are just, and I guess Malf now, are really great poke heroes. He has some movement speed buff. I don't know. I think he definitely has a place on this map.
You could be right, but I think kind of what Cavalier talked about earlier, where on these large maps, right, Blizzard was saying that they'd be good for melee, but they're really actually good for the poke ranged, right? Because you still have to close the gap, but this map's about kiting. So unless you're going to land that W every time and not be blown up on your way in, then I think, Thrall's probably good, but I think the range damage dealers that have an escape or have the mobility probably still win out.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, Twitch chat. You're left with just one handsome face right now, but it's a good one.
You got rid of me?
Well, because you blew up. It was like your giant eye peering through a window. You were like all Godzilla on my stream. I don't know. Freak me out, man. Freak me out.
Wow.
But we'll bring you back.
Look into my eyes, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll give him a couple minutes before we move on to the last pick of this, but just because I'd like him to come back. He's the guest. This map has drafts I did not expect to see so far. I can definitely say that. Obviously, I hadn't put a ton of thought into it, but I was expecting globals, but I wasn't expecting certain things like the Hammer, the Sylve, the Tyrael, Li Ming I hadn't thought about, but I mean it makes a ton of sense. The Ariel ban is weird to me, but
yeah, Ariel was actually picked up in one of the first 3 games, and she was just completely shut down. It's interesting. Clearly they banned her out because of the Aegis, right? But if she or whoever she crowns can't do damage, So I think in the game where she was picked up, the hammer just zoned her extremely well. So she was never able to get enough energy to actually do any of the sustained healing that we were talking about earlier.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Okay.
So she has a lot of output, but she has to have the energy to do it.
Yeah, for sure. What else did I want to say on this map? Oh, so I guess in your own games, go for a global if you're early, or if you're lacking globals, if you can play them as hard as you can, as early as you can, at least until the map changes or people learn it a little better. On top of that, Li Ming, great hero here if you're good at Li Ming. So
yeah, another thing, I really do think that Murky may have a place here. I mean, maybe not at the top.
I mean,
top
he
tier.
can hide that egg. That's
exactly.
for sure.
I think that egg, his ability to come back, because I think a lot of what we saw, and especially Lord Blue asked a question about comparing to Blackheart's Bay, avoiding team fights. I think there are a decent number of team fights here because you're fighting over those nukes and trying to poke and stop them from picking it up, or trying to take it from them before they get to that magic number of 2, right, at 14.
I would definitely agree that it's different from Blackhearts. You're not avoiding team fights, you're creating a lot of small fights.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's... So I do think that Murky has... his ability to come back out of that egg is going to be so good.
I could see Murky here, for sure.
Versus like a Tracer, he'd still be obliterated, probably, right? But... or even
right. You don't want to pick him in a Tracer, yeah.
And I think until the meta evolves and or they change the map, you're going to see a lot of Zeratul.
Sure.
Because he does everything you want on this map. So
yeah. So they. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, and the Li Ming. I think the Li Ming is going to be a top tier pick.
Yeah. The map's really uncertain right now, and Li Ming is just like, she can do work on the open spaces. So, yeah.
Right, and the other thing is, we only saw Sylv once, or not. I think we saw Sylv a couple of times, but like in the first 2 games, it wasn't very effective, and I think part of that is the nukes are so good at pushing down lanes that the nukes before 14 can do that job for you, right? So you don't need a Zag, or you don't need necessarily a Sylv to do that. It's certainly helpful, and there's a place for that in your comp, but I'm not sure it's as important in some of the other push lane maps we've seen.
I wonder if it's even worth it to nuke the fort. Like, I could see nuking the front wall just to get in, but I wonder if you just want to hang on to your nukes till you're at the keep wall, since there's no penalty.
Yeah, and there could be, right? I think a lot of that probably depends on what your plan for the map is, right? How your comp is built, and then who's going to need to hold on. I mean, I don't know that you want to hold on to the map or hold on to the nukes for 10 minutes, right? Like, there's no reason to. You can use them and then pick up new ones.
That's true. They will respawn again. You can only hold so many. You can only hold 1 per hero, yeah.
Unless you're the Vikings, yeah.
You can hold up to 7, yeah.
Right, so...
Which, I'm sure we'll see a game pretty soon where it's like, time for the 7 nuke video,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that'll be cool, so,
Yeah, I think one of the last maps, too, I can't remember if it was this game or the 5th one, they used the push-in method to win, right, that we had talked about. And the other team had 2 nukes and tried to use the nukes to defend, and they're just not effective, like, at all.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting where there's not a lot of counterplay right at this particular moment. So,
well, I think Homeboy's internet is just dead because he hasn't got back on Skype. So we're gonna go ahead and
and Protocital just said that you can only hold 5 nukes. You can actually hold 7 if you have the Vikings.
If you have the Vikings, you can hold 7
because they can each hold 1. Otherwise, you'd be tracked. You can hold 5 per team.
Right. Yeah. There you go. So the last pick actually from Fnatic was Abathur. Now Abathur into a Tracer pick is bold. Of course, it's a huge map. The same philosophy applies to the Murky Egg, right? Like, you can hide an Abathur too. Like, so it's not a huge deal. But I wish Cavalier was here because I'm not sure what you're doing. What the Abathur's goal here? What the goal of this pick was after seeing this draft?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. My best guess is that they were trying to put on some shield or some additional, trying to save the radar,
right?
Maybe, or add enough damage to Zeratul to try to take down the Tracer if they were not on point with the shields. Maybe that's all I can.
Maybe they're trying to like clone Hammer, to do a bunch of siege,
or for that matter, clone Zeratul to try to really wreck them down.
Just
but I thought it was not it. it almost felt like it was a desperation pitch, as in they got what they wanted. What can we possibly do to mitigate this? And this is what they came up with.
Now, I don't think this draft is a complete wash for Dignitas here. I do think one thing about Malf. I played a pretty good amount of Malf, and he is very vulnerable to someone like Zeratul. So yeah, with two Zeratools, and he doesn't have Ice Block anymore.
Yeah, but I think some of that is mitigated maybe by the Tassadar, right? Being able to both have the vision as well as the shield.
Yeah, Tassadar's a great pickup here, no question.
And Tyrael can both speed up or Melf getting away and or provide shield. So you're right, but I think that the part of this comp is really it's meant to roam together, right?
Yeah.
So I think that probably mitigates that to some degree, but I would agree that he's fairly vulnerable. But I mean, did you get to see this game?
I didn't get to see this game.
Okay, so do you know who wins? Or who won?
The game 4 would be Dignitas, I would say.
It did, yeah, because it was Fnatic was up 2-0, and then they came back to win the next 2 games.
Almost reverse sweeped, yeah.
Yeah, almost.
So Lord Boo, I think Lord Boo's probably right. They probably just picked the Abathur as kind of like as a faux Viking replacement, just like Soka Lane, and do stuff, but I'm not sure beyond that.
Yeah, the other thing that I was a little bit surprised by the Abathur too, right, is long term he's a good push lane, right? He'll push the lane. This map doesn't last long enough for that. So unless you're trying to just push down the one lane you're trying to get down that your team is probably already focused on, I'm not sure it adds any. I feel like it's just incremental, right, as opposed to being the lane pusher that he typically is.
Right.
But then again, his mines, right? Mines are probably good on such a large map.
I think
where they're going to be coming through, the slow, the reveal. I mean, all sorts of things.
So mines could be good if you're good at predicting where they're going to be. With a map this big with so many open spaces, it's really, I think you could definitely avoid a lot of mines too, though.
Well, don't forget though that the newts do spawn. I mean, where they're going to spawn. Like you don't necessarily know where that particular spawn, but you know where in general where they're going to be.
Yeah. I mean, the mines are helpful. You probably wouldn't go mine build or anything, just because there's not a lot of lane rotations happening.
Then again, neither of us are Abathur.
No, I don't play
players.
So. But I would assume you'd probably want to go another kind of build.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it, though, is just to try to give the Zeratul a little extra boost and or shield the radar from a little bit.
All right, so what did we learn today about Warhead Junction from our Cavalier guest is on the back of the milk carton. He's missing. But what did we learn today? We learned global, obviously. We learned that the wide open spaces are more conducive to ranged damage than melee damage, even though the video says melee damage.
Yeah, I think we learned that poke is king.
Poke, yeah.
Right? I mean, if you look at, in this particular draft at least, Dignitas has Tracer, they have Tassadar, they have the Roots on Melf. They ended up taking Judgment, and they have Limate, right? Everyone about them is poke.
Right, and I mean, it's awesome that we're not seeing Judgment as a gimmick in this game. We're seeing it as this is the fulcrum of the plan, right? Like this is a Judgment comp, which is always nice to see something like that. So
absolutely.
And they won with it, probably pretty hard. I don't know. How close was this game?
It was not very close.
Not very close. Okay. Yeah. I don't think now. What are some heroes? Since we got a little time, and maybe we can say bye to Cavalier if he gets back on. Some heroes that immediately spring to my mind as never pick this hero on this map. There's one that jumps right into my head. And I'm like, do not play this hero on this map. What is yours? Or maybe you'll guess the same one as me. It's an otherwise good, decent hero. It's not just.
I mean, I think there's quite a few of them that are very poor on this map. I guess I'm not. I think Arthas is a bad pick here. Mm-hmm. He did get picked a couple times and just got blown up.
Right.
I think anyone who doesn't have an escape or walks slowly, like we did see Lunara played a couple times. Like mm-hmm. That's another good one.
Yeah.
I don't know which one are you specifically thinking of.
I am thinking of the Butcher. I am thinking the Butcher will just be so useless on this map. His quest will take forever.
Absolutely.
He can't get where he can't escape. Don't play the butcher
is
here.
a dive.
Yeah, he just dives. He just dives.
In fact,
dives. Yeah.
before we played this, or before we had the show tonight, I played a game on this map accidentally. Right, it was Twitch match, and I had the butcher, and they had a Nova Zeratul, and I just got completely destroyed. I think
You had the butcher, or they had the butcher?
I had the butcher.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, I can't see. I see butcher being like as useless as Alarak here, maybe even more so. You know.
Yeah, I think. I mean, don't play him here. In fact, I would hesitate to play any hero that doesn't have some sort of mobility. Right? If you look at every single one of these heroes, they have mobility with the exception of Mouth.
Right.
And they picked up Mouth because it was the best healer that was left. I mean, right after the Brightwing and the Ariel, Mouth's the best.
Right.
So everyone else has some sort of escape. I think that is the moral of this particular map.
Right. You got to move around. Got to be able to move around. And so so actually Alarak's better because he can W himself. So there you go.
Right. I was really surprised at how little we saw Felstad. Now I didn't get to watch all 5 games.
He's got a barrel roll and a global.
I think I caught the drafts of almost all of them, and I can only remember one game where he was picked up, and that was that 5th game. It wasn't very effective, and some of it is, I think, on a lot of the other maps, the corridors where you're fighting are a little bit more narrow. They're not quite as wide open with attacks coming from all angles like they do in this map, so dust gets less value if you don't hit it just right.
Right.
Versus on this particular map, right? I think a lot of the team fights focused around the circle of where the nukes were. So I think that was maybe contributed to some of it, but I was a little surprised not to see it picked up more.
Yeah,
because of the global, especially with. I mean, obviously you're never going to get the value out of Epic Mount because it's at 20. But
yeah, it's not just. It's also in fight mobility, like you were saying. You know, like he not only has a global, but he also has mobility in a fight. So I mean, no one's surprised. Sorry, I'm playing with your face, and it's entertaining to me.
I see that.
So not only does he have team fight potential with his barrel roll and whatnot, he also has a global. So yeah, that's surprising to me too. All right, man. So that's a couple of Warhead Junction drafts. Hopefully you learned a bit from Cavalier and Ascension and myself.
I mean, just in closing, I guess on this map.
Yeah.
I want to say that I really like the idea of it. I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the numbers aren't there yet. I think that's okay, right? It's early still. The map just came out. It was on PTR a little bit, but I have a lot of fun playing it. The only thing that does feel a little odd is it feels like the hero pool, because of how mobile you need to be, feels a little bit reduced. But I think we see a lot of heroes that we otherwise wouldn't necessarily see. So I think that's fun.
Yeah.
What do you think about the map?
I think this map has the most exciting potential I've seen in the new map, I think ever in the history of this game. I really like the direction they took this map with the large size and the really scary kind of objective, the emphasis on skirmishes, and he alluded to it earlier. He said, I think we'll see this map evolve towards a 1-1-3 tri-lane. That's like a League of Legends quote. And, you know, League of Legends is not my favorite game, but it has some good things going for it that I kind of miss from MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends. And I think that sort of dynamic, that kind of lane rotation, is something I'd like to see applied to HOTS, because I think HOTS is amazing and superior, and if it had the good things from those games, it'd be even better. So I think this map is a step in that direction.
Another thing we didn't talk about at all is the how influential the bosses are on this map. So there's 2 of them, right? And because the map is so large, if you're able to pick somebody and have enough time to take down a boss, it's so impactful.
Oh yeah,
picking up nukes.
I wanted to talk about that. There's 2 bosses.
Yeah. So there's 2 bosses, and they're able to. If the other team wants to deal with it, once you have one, they are probably going to lose out on some nukes.
Now, that makes me wonder, and this was something that's what it was. I was going to ask him this. So the big thing on Cursed Hollow is you want boss steal heroes and you know, heroes that can swing a boss fight, because there's 2 bosses. So I wonder if those kind of heroes are going to be the thing on this map too, because there's 2 bosses. Your Zagaras to steal the point, your Void Prisons, Muradin gets on there and just avatars and stands there forever and haymakers the guy off, things like that.
Well, as you've seen, a lot of the heroes that were
You
picked
can't
up
do
here
both those things, but
are
yeah.
pretty effective of this, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you ended up with the Tyrael who can sank you. You got the Muradin. You have the Zeratul. I mean, just in this draft, you see a lot of that. And then again, as I said earlier, we saw some Lunara, and she's also good at taking down bosses, which was impactful in the game she was played in.
Yeah, and the boss on this map is no joke. It's not the Cursed Hollow boss. The Cursed Hollow boss is like, I'm a guy, I run up and I hit hammer. This boss is scary. Like, he's half Terran, half Zerg monstrosity full of metal, first of all. And then he shoots the banelings everywhere, and he does the big AoE. He does a ton of damage, man.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah,
and it's a StarCraft map, so
StarCraft is the best. I love StarCraft.
It is the best.
It's just the best. Yeah, cool. Anything else you want to say before I plug the Cavalier Guest for him?
No, I think it was great to have him back, and he's very knowledgeable, and I think having his insights here was impactful, and I think we'll see the map get tuned in the future that he definitely predicted, and I think a lot of us who watch the games are like, yeah, this is going to change. Otherwise, it's whoever gets those nukes first and pushes down the lane.
Yeah,
so.
14-minute map. Yeah. Okay, so you guys should follow Cavalier Guest on Twitter. He makes awesome Reddit posts full of information that aren't awful like most Reddit posts. He writes awesome guides. The other thing is we're working on, we've talked about Monday Night Team League. Every Monday we play Team League, and we want to get people like you involved in Team League so we can populate that Team League queue and get people playing the game mode that's the best, which is Team League.
Come play Team League with us.
Come play Team League. There's a point system. Here, let me hit it here so you can read about it. There's a point system, and we're also working on a collaboration with the NexusGG.com to implement some of their tools for Monday Night Team League. So go register at the NexusGG.com. It's basically Facebook for Heroes of the Storm fans, and it's pretty awesome. They don't even pay me. I just like it. I just think the site's cool. So, do that, and follow Storm Legacy on Twitter and also on the Nexus GG.
That's Sahara. He's a pretty cool guy.
I'm cool. Turns out. Everybody thinks so.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm the Lord of Ascension, so thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Are you going to play or what?
Yeah, I'm going to play. Are you going to play?
I'm going to play.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm switching over. Boom. Spotify. Where's my tunes?